Alright, what's going on, y'all? It's Cooper here, one half of FCSN, and it is that time of the week to break down the Heisman Watch, and it shook up a lot, almost as much as that college football playoff did. I uploaded that video yesterday. Go make sure to go check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, this was kind of tough, because there were so many upsets. Some guys that were high up in the Heisman Watch didn't have their best game, and then some guys came out of nowhere and just had like big time statement games. So this was tough to do, so go ahead and leave your top 4 down in the description below, because there's a lot of room for opinion here, just like that playoff. Like, when we get further in the season, it'll get more solidified, but right now it's wide open. You're seeing all kinds of different opinions, and I want to hear you guys. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and give you my top 4, and then my next 4 on the bubble. So with that said, let's jump into it. So here we go. At the number 4 spot, I have Nick Marshall. A lot of guys don't really have him in the Heisman talk, but I have him in there because I think Auburn is playing the best football out of anybody in the country at this point in time. They're just winning big, and they've looked impressive, and he just orchestrates everything. He's a leader of that team, and I think by the end of year's end, he'll get that invite up to New York. I don't think he's legitimate contender for the trophy, to win it, but I definitely got to throw him in that conversation, and he's making big time plays for Auburn so far this season. Moving on, Marcus Mariota. I feel bad for Mariota. I really do. That was not his fault. I mean, yes, he coughed the ball up a couple times versus Arizona in that upset, but he was just sitting back there taking shot after shot after shot. And it was hard for me to watch because he's such a great player. I can't drop him any further than 3. I think he'll work his way back up there by year's end. He has a big game coming up this weekend versus UCLA. If he comes out and makes a statement and they win that game, I think Marcus Mariota throws himself right into the top of that conversation. At number 2 spot, I have Dak Prescott, and man, has this kid had himself some ball games in the past 2 weeks. Went off versus LSU, put up 5 TDs, I believe, versus A&M. And he is the key to that Mississippi State offense. He keeps it going, makes all kind of plays, whether it's on his feet or through the air. And they've got a big-time matchup this weekend against the Auburn Tigers up against Nick Marshall. So he could either go, if he wins that game and he plays well in that game versus Auburn, he skyrockets. This dude is at the top of the list. He's unanimous Heisman candidate leader. But at this point in time, I'm not ready to throw him at the top. If he has a big game this weekend, though, Dak Prescott is that dude. Moving on, Todd Gurley. In my opinion, no one makes a bigger impact to their team in college football than Todd Gurley. Maybe you could throw Abdullah and Gordon in that situation, but I'll get into more of that later. But right now, Todd Gurley, man, he's been making all kind of plays for the Dogs. He had like 180 yards this week, even threw a 50-yard pass. He's just been doing it all. I believe right here now he's the most dominant player in college football, doing it in the toughest conference. Todd Gurley is my Heisman leader. With that said, though, let's go ahead and jump into my bubble, my next 4 Heisman contenders. Alright, so taking a look at the next 4 in the Heisman race, at the 4th spot, which is 8th overall, I have Amari Cooper. His team took a tough loss to Ole Miss, but he still made a pretty big impact in the game. I believe he had almost, 91 yards. I think he's like a key to that Alabama offense. They look to him in the passing game. He helps out the inexperienced quarterback in Blake Sims. He just makes all the plays when they go his way. Amari Cooper, not really, kind of threw himself out of contention with that loss. But I think if you're going to throw a wide receiver in there, he's the top guy that goes to. Moving on, Amir Abdullah. This guy, I was sold on him. He was making all kind of plays. The runs he was having were legit. And his stats were just off the chain. But then he went off and he played Michigan State. And he just didn't have a great ball game. When you're playing a big game like that, you need your star players to step up. And they kind of had him on shutdown. He did not show up. And I cannot throw him in that top 4 if he didn't have a good week. But his team needed him most. Maybe if he continues to play well the rest of the season and Nebraska makes a run of that Big Ten championship, I can throw him back in that top 4. But as of right now, I have him outside at the 7th overall spot. And I want to go ahead and mention this real quick. Melvin Gordon, just as dominant, but he lost to Northwestern, and then they lost to LSU early in the season. 2 losses at this point in time. Not going to have you in the Heisman talk. Moving on to another spot, we got Kenny Hill, Kenny Trill. We turned the ball over a few times in that game versus Mississippi State. He's got a chance to turn things around. He's got Ole Miss this weekend. So Kenny Hill, a guy who can redeem himself this upcoming week. We'll see how that one plays out. And then Everett Golson, the numbers really aren't there for him. In the past few weeks, he's turned the ball over way too much. But he's found a way to win, and he's been the reason they found the way to win at game's end. He made that pass on 4th and 11 to beat Stanford. The defense keeps it in it, of course. But then he's the one putting the ball in the end zone or making the throws he needs to make. And when you're on a good team like that and you're the guy making the plays, you're the leader, similar to Nick Marshall, you gotta throw him in the Heisman talk. He's got a game coming up at Florida State that could really boost his stock, so watch out for Everett Golston. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, go ahead and leave your forward down in that comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more college football and NFL football for free on this channel. Follow me on Twitter at CooperFCSN. This is Cooper signing out.